What is going on, everybody? It has felt like forever since I posted a video. I've been wanting to make this particular video for the last few days, but as you can tell from my voice, I am very congested right now. So this is the first time I felt really well enough to try to shoot a video. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do this video right now, because if you didn't know, over the weekend was SnyderCon, which was a big Zack Snyder event where he hosted 3 of his most iconic movies. He did it for charity, and after each movie, he did a Q&A session. But the reason why we're talking about it on this channel is because on the BVS showing, which was on the Sunday night showing, Zack Snyder had some very choice words about people that talked about his whole Batman killing in his movie, and I really wanted to touch on this. I've been wanting to touch on it for the last few days, like I said, and the reason why is that when I wanted to make this movie, I was kind of not mad, but kind of annoyed with what Snyder said. I was like, oh my god, this dude totally doesn't understand the character of Batman. And I do want to point it out before the Snyder fans jump in here like, oh my god, you hate Zack Snyder, and before the people that think that I'm against Zack Snyder come in here like, oh yeah, Zack Snyder's shit. No, none of that. I want to just make this clear right now. Absolutely loved BVS when I first saw it. My review is still on this channel if you want to go look on it. I think I gave it like a 10 out of 10 or an 11 out of a 10, but I will 100% admit right now that I was biased, and I am still biased towards that movie a little bit, because it finally gave me the cosmetic looking Batman that I wanted. He looked awesome, his gadgets were awesome, he had multiple freaking costumes, and he fought like Batman does in the comic book. He's fought multiple guys, opposed to past Batman films where Batman was super stiff in his fighting. No, this Batman in BVS was amazing. And although I have never ever been a fan of Batman killing, I heard before going into that movie that they were bringing a lot of references from The Dark Knight Returns, which is, if you ever read that comic book, I have, Batman does kill in that storyline. So I was totally okay with that because of the source material they were pulling from, but as a Batman fan, I have never been a fan of him actually killing, because I loved the no-kill rule part of his character, his morale, the thing he bases his whole character around. I've always been fascinated with that. So that's information I wanted to get out of the way now, because I don't want people going into thinking that I'm just going to bash Zack Snyder or I'm just going to love on Zack Snyder. No, it's going to be kind of hopefully this idea of how he's kind of wrong and maybe he's kind of right. I don't know. Let me give my thoughts on this whole thing. But first, I gotta show you the clip, because it's basically what we're gonna be dragging from. This is what he said on the Sunday night after the BVS showing. Quickly, I do want to point out that I have sped up the video just a little bit because it was kind of a long clip, and I didn't want this video to be like a 3-minute clip of him just talking.
Someone says to me like, oh, like Batman killed a guy. I'm like, fuck. Really? I'm like, wake the fuck up. It's like, it's like, you know, that's all. So like, I guess that's what I'm saying about, like, you know, once you've like lost your virginity to this fucking movie, and then you come and say to me something about like, oh, my superhero wouldn't do that. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm like down the fucking road on that. You know what I mean? So, and it's a cool point of view. Look, I'm 100% fine with it. It's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent. You know, my heroes didn't fucking, you know, lie to America. My heroes didn't, you know, embezzle money from their corp. My heroes didn't fucking commit any atrocities. I'm like, that's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world, okay?
So there's the video. One thing I do want to point out from other videos that I have seen through this whole just weekend of SnyderCon and everything like that is Snyder seemed kind of blitzed in a lot of these interviews, and it just seemed like he had been drinking a lot. So it's kind of hard to put a lot of stock into what he's saying, because, you know, when people drink, they often tend to say things that they normally wouldn't say. So, yeah, so just throwing that out there. But the first thing we see in this little clip is Snyder saying that somebody's like, oh, Batman killed a guy, and he kind of just like laughs it off, and he's just like, are you serious, man? Specifically says, wake the fuck up. So obviously there's the two things right there. You have the crowd of like, Batman doesn't kill, and then you have Snyder, which the side he's on is like, are you serious? You really think Batman wouldn't kill? And then Snyder says something about losing your virginity to this film, and somebody replying like, my hero wouldn't do this, and he asks the question like, are you serious? So we're seeing the stance that he's very on. Like, Snyder's very, I guess, a more realistic approach to these comic book characters. Like, oh my god, you actually think you could do all of this without killing somebody? And I think that's going to be the biggest thing that we're going to talk about here, is because I feel like Snyder has a vision of what people think about superheroes, but he's not really on the same page as those people. And these are the kind of conversations we need to have, because I think he's taking the literal and not the actual thing that's happening. And then I'm going to play this next clip again because I think it's the most important part, and I think this is where the confusion is coming in, and I think where Zack Snyder doesn't make sense, or doesn't comprehend is probably the better word, of how comic book viewers actually see these characters.
And it's a cool point of view. Look, I'm 100% fine with it. It's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent, you know? My heroes didn't fucking, you know, lie to America. My heroes didn't, you know, embezzle money from their my heroes didn't fucking commit any atrocities. I'm like, that's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world, okay?
So at the start of that, you do hear Snyder talk about how he thinks it's a cool point of view to have that, like, oh, my heroes remain innocent. He just thinks it's a whole bunch of bullshit. Then Snyder kind of gives examples like, oh, my hero would never freaking lie to America. He would never commit atrocities. He would never embezzle money. And he says, that's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world. And to that, I gotta say, yeah, Snyder, of course, it's a fictional book. It is a dream world, bro. Somebody literally thought of a character and put it into a world, into this world, so we could escape our own. That's like part of comic books. Yes, comic books can be just taking real stories from the real world and putting them in a fictional world, but it literally is a dream world. Somebody dreamed this up in their brain. Bill Finger, Bob Kane dreamt up Batman and made it a reality. It is a fucking dream world, bro. It's what movies are. It's what we go to the movies for. That was the line that triggered me the most. But, like I said, I'm not here to talk shit about Snyder, and I'm not here to rile up the people that hate Snyder. I'm not here to do that. It's just that I just thought his wording was kind of dumb there, to say that you're living in a fucking dream world, to think that your characters would be innocent all the time. And again, he's kind of right, but I don't think he makes sense in the way he says it. Because honestly, if you are a true Batman fan, not just a movie Batman fan or just not a Snyder fan, because the one thing I see or hear every time somebody brings up Zack Snyder's Batman being like this super killer, everybody's like, have you not seen all the other Batmans? Nolan killed like 30 people, and freaking the first Tim Burton Batman's always killed the Joker and killed everybody else. There's literally a chart out there that has like the number of people that have been killed in films by, you know, certain Batman. And I will say that those numbers are kind of skewed because, well, some of those films, like the Nolan trilogy, had 3 different freaking movies to add up that kill count. And in the Nolan films, to be honest, if you guys actually go back, at least Nolan tried to do the no-kill rule. Now, he did it in a weird way where, you know, he had that one scene in Batman Begins where he's like, I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you. Yeah, Batman normally wouldn't do that. He would still save the person. He wouldn't let them fall to their death. So, I don't agree with that at all, but at least there were notions of Nolan trying to implement that Batman isn't openly out here trying to kill people. In The Dark Knight, he literally has an intimidation mode on the Batmobile, so he doesn't kill anybody. It's like he has this technology to try to not kill people. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you could go through this movie or any movie and just say like, oh, that would technically kill somebody. There's no way that person's totally innocent. If we really want to dissect movies that bad, we could find out every superhero ever has killed everybody. But, you know, at the same time, the reason why you can do that is because not every filmmaker wants to show somebody jumping out of a car before it explodes or whatever. They just want the person to assume like, yeah, that person kind of lived. Because that would get boring after a while. Just imagine how many shots you would be like, alright, we gotta make sure this guy doesn't kill, so jump out of the car right before it explodes. And like, oh, Batman, make sure you're picking up all the people and making sure you say that like, oh, nobody died, I checked all their pulses. That would get really boring in film. So of course it's easy to go through and say like, Nolan totally killed these people. By the way, yeah, this scene right here, that dude totally died. I'm not trying to be out here and say that Snyder's the only person that's ever killed. Somebody has died in every freaking Batman film. That is 100% true. So you could actually say that nobody's ever made a true Batman on the big screen. Although I haven't seen Batman 66, so please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But let's get back to the main point of the story. That is that Zack Snyder just doesn't understand these characters, or he just doesn't get where people are coming from. And the reason I'm saying this is I think he's taking the idea of innocence way too literally here. Now, I'm not too sure. I'm not Snyder. I don't know what crazy fans have told him. I don't know if he's like, oh, Batman would never have stole from somebody, or Batman would have never freaking done this. He would have never broken the law. That fan is dumb if they would have think that. Batman is literally a vigilante. He breaks the law all the time. He only plays by his rules. That is why his biggest rule is no kill rule, is his only rule that he's following. But he'll lie to you, he'll steal from you, he'll do whatever he needs to do to accomplish the mission. He's just not going to kill anybody because that is what he is based off. That is his one moral rule code that he's not going to do. So when Snyder talks about innocence and how these characters are not innocent because they're totally breaking the law, they're totally lying, they're totally destroying and blowing up things, I don't think anybody honestly considers that when it comes to Batman. I mean, if you are a true Batman fan, you know he does all those things. You know he's a liar because he's trying to do everything to protect everybody. And if he's got to lie, if he's got to blow something up, but make sure there's nobody in it, like, he takes every precaution possible, and he will lie to the government. He will do everything. I don't think anybody in their right mind is literally considering that when they're talking about Zack Snyder's film and what, you know, Zack Snyder's Batman did. Like, Zack Snyder's Batman literally just straight up killed people. Again, I had no issue with that while I was watching this movie because I thought this was coming from the Dark Knight Returns comic book. And to be honest, that's all Snyder really needs to say when he does these interviews. But if he's gonna go off and be like, you're living in a freaking dream world, and like, Batman totally got to kill people, there's no way to make this character realistic or whatever if he doesn't kill people. No, that's not the case at all. Look, in this debate, there's always gonna be those people that stay on the side of Batman that kills people, because I have met plenty of Frank Miller fans, and Frank Miller fans think that is the best Batman of all time, but that is also a Batman that kills. It's also some of the worst Batman stories I've ever read, in my opinion. I love The Dark Knight. I love Year One. A lot of other Miller Batman stuff is kind of atrocious, in my opinion, but I do often find a lot of people that love the Batman killing big-time Miller fans. That is a very different era of Batman fans. And then, of course, we have these other Batman fans that do love the no-kill rule, that do love the no-guns thing, which I do want to point out, just in case some of you are like, oh man, when is that even big? The first appearance of the no-kill rule, and possibly even the no-gun rule, was in Batman #4. That was the first issue. That was back in the 40s. So this rule has been around for a very long time. I know a lot of people like to bring up the idea that Batman's used guns, Batman's done this. And yes, he has definitely done that stuff in the past, but over the years, characters develop, characters change, they become better, they have new rules, they just add these little, you know, thoughts to their characters. And Batman's biggest one that has been around forever is his no-kill rule, because of what happened to him when he was 8 years old or 12, depending on when you want to think about it. But when it really comes down to it, the reason why Batman's no-kill rule is so huge with the character is because Batman is one of the, if not the most iconic character on this planet, and he is the most relatable, and it's what people want to be. And what I mean by that is people wish they could have the self-control of Batman. They could have that power to actually see somebody destroy somebody, see somebody kill somebody, see somebody be murdered, somebody commit a crime, and not give them the death penalty. Not to just go over there and strangle them and beat them to hell or shoot them or do whatever. Nobody in their right mind could think that, because a lot of people would be like, oh my god, you killed my parents? You're totally dead. There's no way. But if you could just rise above that, if you could be that bigger, better person, I think a lot of people would want to strive to be that. And that is what makes Batman so compelling, because you have this guy that has all of the weapons in the world. He could hire assassins to go kill anybody he wanted. He could kill anybody he wanted with his bare hands, but he sticks to these moral obligations, these moral codes that he has, and he never breaks them. I mean, just think about something you do on a daily basis. You're like, I'm not gonna eat candy today, and then by the end of the day, you're eating candy. Or like, I'm gonna work out 5 times a week, and you never work out. Like, we break those kind of things every day, but when you read about a character that fights crime, that meets the worst of the worst that you can find in this world, pedophiles, rapists, killers, murder, whatever you can think about, Batman has met it in his 80 years, and this man has still tried to stick to this moral code because he will not take another life, because it's the reason he became Batman. He is not going to do what somebody else did to him. Because again, put yourself in Bruce Wayne's shoes. If your parents are murdered, right, by somebody else, you can go and kill that person and everybody would consider you a hero. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you're a hero, you killed somebody. But you know who's not going to think you're a hero? The family of the other guy that murdered your parents. Because they're like, okay, so you just killed our person for something bad he did. It was unnecessary. You could have just took him to jail. He could have did this, whatever. You're not going to be a hero in everybody's eyes for murdering somebody. Also, if you are just a movie Batman person, I would highly suggest you go read some more Batman comic books, because Batman isn't just letting murderers and criminals go every time he catches them in the act. No, he genuinely believes in rehabilitation. Bruce Wayne, aka the Mask of Batman, has even helped out so many criminals because he knows that not every criminal is doing this to be bad. A lot of criminals are stealing and doing whatever they need to do, working with the Joker, working with Riddler, just so they can put food on the table. And there have been plenty of comic books and even animated series where Batman finds a criminal and he's all like, oh, I need answers or whatever, and he's like, I'm sorry, man, I'm just doing this for my family. He sees the family, and then he has given them jobs at Wayne Enterprises to rebuild up their family so he doesn't have to be a criminal for the rest of his life. So Batman is so much more than just this vigilante that can kick ass and could kill anybody he wanted. No, he's an actual human being, and I think that's why so many people relate to this character, because he's such a badass, but at the same time, he's a human. And I think he is the most, like, just badass human you could be, because if you could kick anybody's ass but still have a moral code of like, look, I'm just gonna beat your ass, bro, but I'm not gonna kill you because I don't believe in that kind of stuff. That's just wrong. That's awesome. So in the end, I just feel like Zack Snyder doesn't understand the people that are coming at him with the whole Batman no killing thing, especially with these comments. If he just said, hey, I'm pulling it from The Dark Knight Returns, that's why there was so much killing, or that's why Batman did these things, that would make so much more sense. But he doesn't say that. He just thinks that Batman is this character that would have to kill because there's no way he could do what he does. And that's kind of dumb, because we have 80 years of history that shows that he can totally do that. So yeah, I just don't think Zack Snyder understands where people are coming from on this, and I think he is just taking the idea of innocence way too literally. Also, I'm gonna throw this out there because I know a lot of people, or a lot of Snyder fanboys, are gonna be like, didn't you see the whole movie, stupid? At the end, he's brought back to the idea of like, he doesn't need to kill anymore, and that, you know, that's what the whole Martha thing was about. He remembered that he was a good guy and he's not gonna kill anymore. Totally understand that. I've had this conversation with a billion people when I was defending BVS so much back in the day, before Snyder has constantly made me like the movie less and less with him just constantly talking about it. But I will point out to you that if you are so high on Batman killing in BVS and you're totally cool with it, why the hell is Joker, Harley, Deadshot, everybody in Suicide Squad still alive to make that movie? If Batman is such a hardcore killer and he's all like, you gotta kill people, man, so they don't kill more people, how are the most hardcore villains in the Batman universe still alive? Answer me that, freaking Snyder fanboys, because it makes no sense. How are you gonna be able to go and kill all of these people, but you're only cool with killing the level low guys, but you're still gonna try to not kill the most dangerous people in the freaking universe? Yeah, that doesn't make sense, Snyder. Come on, bro. And don't try to tell me, Snyder fanboys, that that movie was shot after BVS, because we know in BVS there was a Robin that was killed. That was apparently Dick Grayson, which was really dumb, by the way. And in the Suicide Squad movie, it literally says that Joker and Harley Quinn killed Robin. So, if Batman was gonna kill anybody, it should be the Joker. So to end this, Zack Snyder doesn't make sense, or Zack Snyder doesn't understand Batman. I'm not sure what I'm gonna title it right now. All I will say is, wake the fuck up, Snyder, because obviously you're taking the innocent thing way too literal, and you don't understand the idea of what makes Batman great over these 70+9 years or whatever since the actual rule has been in place. And that's all I got to say, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Juice Wayne. Remember, Batman is awesome. See you guys next time. Bam! New and improved wheel spin, ladies and gentlemen.
Step on the land, I've got your hand, and now we're way down, fade out, no.
Yes!
Was it your plan?
A new Intercontinental Champion, baby!
You bring everything.
We finally got it! We finally got it in here!
Burning, you tell me to hold on tight. I wish that we could stay here forever. I want
Bro!
of you brings the fire in me, makes me wanna move.
Try this out. Get out of here!
In my eyes, feel your hands on mine.